You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
Hi, you're listening to my mom, Georgia Edson, on iCannabisRadio.com.
Hi, welcome. It is yet another day on iCannabis Radio.
It's Monday.
It's our day.
And the fan is on.
Oh.
The fan is going to be off, and just there it goes. Much better.
I have trouble with white noise. It just...
Oh, see, I love it.
I love it. I don't.
I need it.
I don't dislike it, but...
I don't need it,
I'm Georgia.
I'm Jeremy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We've known each other.
We have.
We met before tonight.
Right. I just roll with it. I'm still trying to type shit, and it's just not working out.
Oh my gosh. Slow. Do you want to hear my joke?
I would love to.
So...
That was a good one. Next up, we have. I'm just kidding.
That's about as good as it gets today. I'm just gonna move on because we have a pretty rockin' show tonight on December 16th, 2013. December 16th. I think I say this. There's two things that happen every week in the show. One is I say, "Oh my gosh, can you believe it is whatever date it is?" And then Jeremy follows that up with, "And oh my gosh, can you believe that these slow people are driving the left-hand lane and will not go over?"
You know, I was going to bitch about that again tonight. I bitch about that on every show because eventually nothing's going to change. So it doesn't really matter. But I like to bitch about it. And, you know, sadly, I don't want to be known for that. But damn it.
For being a bitch?
For just bitching about that same thing. Just get the fuck out of the left lane, please. Colorado state law says slower traffic, keep right, and left lane is for passing only. If you're just dawdling in the left lane and you got a line of people behind you, you're the cause of road rage. Get the fuck over. Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight we have some pretty exciting things. You know, it's the third Wednesday. It's not a Wednesday at all. It's the third Monday. Because we wouldn't be here if it was Wednesday.
Yeah,
unless it was IDAB day. And it's not.
Right. It's not
no,
Wednesday.
Today's Monday. And I know that because we do a show every Monday. It's the third Monday of the month. And that always means that we have Greg Dower in for our cannabis history lesson. So that will be on later in the show tonight. And which is always fun, don't you think?
Yes.
I kind of know what he's going to talk about tonight, and it's going to be interesting. We also have our friend Matt Brown from My 420 Tours, who is going to come and talk about, you know, do you realize what's going to happen January 1st, 2014 in the state of Colorado?
It's going to get crazy.
Colorado will change forever. It will never be the same after that date. We thought it changed last January 1st. This is just different. The idea of being able to walk into a retail establishment as someone 21 or over and pay your money and get marijuana sold to you as just a human being who wants marijuana is amazing.
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
It's really exciting. I intend to drive around and film people that are standing in line, because it's my understanding that only 12 places are going to be opening up.
I don't even know if they know that there's going to be 12.
So, okay,
you know,
so a maximum possibility
right.
of 12 for January 1st, and that can accommodate adults 21 and up from anywhere in the world. Yay, you.
Yeah, provided they have a government-issued ID.
Correct.
Driver's license, passport.
How awesome
military.
Is that? I mean, what is today, the 16th? 17th, 16th. So, 15, so 16 days? I mean, today's almost over, so really 15 days, and it's hard to grasp. I mean, it's already legal now. I mean, you can already walk outside and flail a bag of weed around, can't you? I mean, can you? Okay,
can
Georgia?
You flail? You can flail if you want to.
Flail a bag of weed around. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Can I walk up to a police officer with a 1/4 ounce of marijuana and say, "This is marijuana. I've always wanted to show it to a cop, and I'm not being disrespectful. I appreciate what you're doing. I'm going to put this back in my pocket now. I'm going to walk away." Can you do that legally?
Not in some places. Not in Denver. In Denver, you can't do it on the 16th Street Mall. You can't show the product in certain public places. If they were to, Parks is one of them, 16th Street Mall is one of them, those kinds of things. So you can't just flail it about. But if a police officer were to say, what's in your bag, and you decided to be stupid and say, rather than say, why do you want to look in my bag? Do you have a search warrant for my bag? If you say, okay, fine, and you had a 1/4 ounce of marijuana in your bag, and you are also 21 years of age, guess what? Boom, you're okay. Now, if you take it out, this is welcome to Colorado. But this is the New York City thing where police officers would bait and goad people into doing things that were illegal. If you take that out of your bag on the 16th Street Mall, out of your backpack, and you are showing it, all of a sudden you've committed a crime. Don't do that.
But if you were elsewhere,
possession in public.
So
or some variation of that.
Is it the same with alcohol? So if you were to do the same with a can of beer, would it be the same?
It is the same because open container laws. You can't have an open container of alcohol in public.
What if it was just a can, an unopened can, or an unopened canned? Damn. It's just
if you had a 6-pack of booze in your backpack and you were going from point A to point B, I think the rule is, and I am not an attorney, despite the fact that everyone seems to think because I sleep with an attorney that makes me an attorney, and it doesn't. Yeah.
You've got to. Yep.
I'm just smart. I mean, that's the thing. I know that's what confuses people, and not all attorneys are smart. But so I believe that the issue is open container.
Okay.
So don't have an open container.
Well, I don't have any containers because I don't drink.
No, you don't.
But I do want to walk up to a police officer and show him some marijuana. Actually, not even marijuana because that's just stupid. I would like to show him some cannabis and say, do you guys ever find anything that smells this good?
And you know what I have to say, though? You know what I have to say? Here's the thing. For those people that either don't spend a lot of time around cannabis, don't smoke cannabis, no offense, the smell is not pleasant to people. It's sort of like non-coffee drinkers don't like the smell of coffee. So let's assume a police officer is a non-smoker.
It's not good to make assumptions, but
for the sake of my story,
incident,
for the sake of my story,
I feel like you're going to make a proper assumption.
Thank you.
Please.
He is going to think that it smells like ass and not in a good way. That's my guess. Is a non-smoker, not interested in the industry, is going to think that smells like horse's ass, my dog's ass.
That's very true.
That's what I think.
That's a good point.
Can you believe that we got to this point when we were talking about Matt Brown? Like, that's how we got here. We went from Matt Brown to my dog's ass. That was a weird... But I'm going to bring it back.
That's how it works around here.
So we'd love to have Matt on the show, and he's going to talk about planning events and tourism with cannabis and kind of what's happening in Denver that maybe isn't as touchy-feely as I would hope it would be with regards to having a cannabis-related adult event. And so we're going to do that. But you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to have your friend Zen on to talk a little bit about... Sounds like a plan to me. That's a great plan.
That sounds like a great plan, yes. So, I said it the third time, so I'm going to turn
So clearly, 3 times, that means it's a great plan.
That dab is setting in, apparently. So
Zen, you're from Florida. You're an activist in Florida in the cannabis movement. And tell us a little bit about what's happening in Florida and what your involvement is in the movement in Florida.
All right. Well, Florida's got a medical marijuana petition right now that is going to be for 2014. And there is a group behind it called People United for Medical Marijuana, or United for Care, unitedforcare.org. I'm actually Aisis, or Aisis Inc., which is All I See is Sensibilia, which is AISIS.org, or AISISinc.org, I'm sorry, AISISINC.org. And what we are is a patient outreach program that sponsors individuals that have been through crisis, be they, however they're related to medical marijuana. They've just gone through something, they need some help, and nobody's there. They don't have a support system for whatever reason. Their support system's exhausted. I see an individual, I see a family, or we see a family, there is a board, and we just say, hey, we're going to support that person. Jeremy's one of those people. And I saw him, and I said he needed help, and I brought it to the guys involved. Are we losing sound?
No, it's just reverb a little bit.
All right. So I brought it to the guys involved, and they said, hey, yeah, he looks like a stand-up guy. Let's help him out. And so we went through to try to get him some mental health care, but I think he's got the help he needs on that. So we're going to find out what he needs next and help him with it.
Well, and there is a sound change. That sounds weird.
I heard it when it came on. But basically, beyond that, beyond Jeremy and the families involved and the people that we're trying to help and just raise money for, we're trying to raise money for the movement right now. In Florida, we're low on signatures, and we need a large amount, the number being 690,000, I believe.
And when you do 690,000, you actually want to get really 725-ish.
Right, because our verification's more like 75-80% is what they were getting out of it. Just to say this, I'm not with United for Care anymore. I was. There's been some problems in the campaign, and frankly, it's my opinion that that's why it's failed so far. There's several papers in Florida that have come out with various articles saying that the campaign's failing and it's because there's not enough support. That's not true. I've seen the people on the ground. I've been out there at the grocery stores. I've been talking to people. I've been talking to police officers. I've covered the entire North Florida area from Jacksonville to Lake City to Gainesville to Daytona, and contacted hundreds and hundreds of people. There's 50,000 plus people that have volunteered on the UnitedForCare.org site. It's a huge community. And as I reached out and got into this, I noticed that there were some problems. And what has happened is there's organizers involved that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, are taking advantage of petitioners, not paying them when they're supposed to be paid, and causing infighting and dissent within the petitioning groups. Whoever was hired by this attorney didn't hire the right person. They've treated the petitioners poorly. There was a young lady who had migraine headaches for several days, and she was producing the second best numbers in the state by my view. I mean, I'm not making a exact claim to their numbers, but they fired her, or they talked her into quitting, basically, or shamed her into quitting. And she was a great activist, somebody who was really dedicated. And when I see somebody like that, I said, you know what? I'm stepping back. I stepped back after she quit. I was like, that's it. And since then, I've just watched the movement dive. And that's why I came out here, too, was to push the movement and help my friend out here, Big Kahuna Kettle Corn. If you haven't seen it, if you weren't at the Secret Cup and don't already know about it, this guy right here, hit him on Facebook, check it out.
It's making me really hungry.
It's the awesome.
It was amazing.
Jeremy ate like
popcorn.
6 pounds of it.
Easily. So there was this sweet bacon flavor, which, whether it sounds good or not, it was the best damn popcorn I've ever had. It was, oh my God, it was so good.
We're trying to get it in stores out here. We're going to work on it for you guys. We didn't realize how hungry you Colorado, Denver people are.
Stoners.
We eat a lot.
You guys are hungry.
Yeah, we eat a lot.
This was the Secret Cup. This isn't like the Cannabis Cup
Right,
or 420 where
Cup.
people are sitting
Daniels,
around puffing
and
a joint, It's like, oh, I want a Twinkie.
Big
You
thanks.
do a couple dabs, you want the whole fucking box of Twinkies.
There you go.
Why does it sound so weird still?
It's still reverbing.
Yeah.
But a big
Well.
thanks to your boy, Dan. I mean, he really stepped in from the moment I met him. The moment he saw I was an activist, he has answered every question I've asked him. Being an icon like he is, it seems like anybody who comes to him with a question about activism, the industry, whatever, I've yet to see him be a jerk, or be like uppity. Like
Dan.
on Big
Dan
King
appreciates
He's a
activism.
really humble guy. He's been super cool to me. He knew we had problems on the trip. We had a breakdown on the trip, so if anybody wants to get on the site and donate, that'd be great.
Oh,
but
no.
we lost. Yeah, coming up, we drove the truck out to. This is basically a hard launch for Kahuna Corn, and a soft launch for FloridAbs.com, which will be up in about 2.5 weeks. And then Aisis also is trying to just basically network with activists.
Great.
So I mean, if there's activists out there listening that want to help out, AisisInc.org. Send me an email, zen@aisisinc.org. We need you big time. We need support from outside, from the state. We need help with our grassroots organizations because the large organizations are failing at organizing the small organizations. They're stepping on grassroots people. And when you step on the grassroots, what is there to support you?
Well, and Florida's such an interesting state. I mean, it's so ripe. We know how amazing cannabis is for the elderly. When you start getting the aches and pains and those kinds of things, I mean, there is nothing more amazing than using topicals and eating edibles and sleep issues and stomach issues, all those kinds of things that, when your body starts to get older and has seen better days, cannabis is amazing.
Needs it. Mm-hmm. Even my grandfather, who's he's 80 years old now. He doesn't use any medical marijuana, any medical cannabis, but I've shown him the science behind it now, and he's a naturalist in the sense that he makes a lot of his own medicine. He's a vitamin guy. He juices raw, and he's from Alabama, just a good old guy, and he knows what's healthy. And so when I showed him the paperwork and I showed him the science backing it up, I showed him the John McPartland, the osteopathic papers, and he agreed. He said, I don't know if it changes my vote, but I agree that it's medicine. And that's a big step for that World War II generation.
That's absolutely
That's a huge step for those people to be saying, wow, this really is a medicine that can help us. And just that, if we get that little bit of acceptance, and that's why I think the campaign's being so conservative. I don't want to completely stomp all over United for Care and say they're not doing a good thing. There's just a few key people involved in this movement that shouldn't be key people.
Well, that's how it's always.
That's always how it is, and John Morgan. I've tried to reach out to their office, or David Morgan, and I don't really know who to get in touch, who to talk to about what these problems are. But hopefully, by getting this out here, I've got another journalist I'm going to talk to about this. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some more exposure on it and get better. I have actually. It's all the evidence is laid out there because they did it publicly. What they've done publicly. And they've done it to a bunch of individuals, so it's not anything I have to prove and have paperwork to prove. It's just individuals saying, yeah, this happened to me.
Well, so on that note, then, is there something, or is there anything here in Colorado that you've seen that you liked better than out there?
Oh, wow, man.
Or things that you could do to...
Oh, wow, man.
Things that you could bring here.
How about Colorado?
Back to there.
What I can bring back there, I think...
To make things better?
We're going to have a different type of connection in Florida. Right now, we're so broken up into all these small groups. That's kind of what I had when I started aisissync.org. I wanted to start something, I'll name drop the ASA here, I guess, but something similar to the ASA that had a different goal. I want there to be a support group of activists. And I've seen a lot of people trying to do this, just nobody's really coming together as one movement, like one site that... So Jeremy's a member of aisissync.org, and he's on every monthly basis, he's at all the memberships, and he has become an active member. So he has a crisis. He's in a car accident. He has no backup. He has no insurance. Aisisync's got him. That's what we wanted to be, almost an insurance policy for the industry, an insurance policy for the culture. It doesn't exist. We have to get each other's backs. We have to step up to the plate as individuals and help each other.
For what it's worth, we look all happy at the Secret Cup, but the reality is we struggle with a lot of that same infighting. Because we have an industry, there are people who have very, very different approaches and bottom lines about what should happen. We are sort of past that just pure activism stage, and now we're into business, and some of it's really big business. And that changes the ball game, and that the grassroots folks are angry at the big business folks who find nothing valuable in the grassroots folks. And you know what? Big business isn't what got us here.
Exactly.
Grassroots is what got us here. So we had your growing pains.
I understand.
We lived your growing pains.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're right, though. Connection.
Yes.
That's key. That's very much the key.
It really is. There's a lot of greed in this industry, and even just the startup industry, the petitioning industry has greed in it. That's just ridiculous. That's the most simple form of expression, getting out there and exercising your rights.
That's right.
And we're going to make that about money now. That's when politics has become way too involved.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about the individuals here. We're not thinking about that little girl down in Tampa.
That's right. Well, we appreciate you guys being here tremendously.
Hey, thanks for the time. Can I say one thing?
Of course you can.
I want to say happy anniversary to Zarisa, my wonderful fiance. She let me come out here on this trip, and she immigrated over from Serbia. She was a victim of the Croatian genocide over there, along with 300,000 other Serbs. And we met, just our sons were best friends, just came together. And that relationship with her is what I saw with you guys. This make me tear up. And that's why this guy's adopted.
There isn't a show that Jamie
she's the
doesn't
reason.
cry.
She puts the love in my heart. She's the reason this guy got adopted. Thanks to Daniel Sells. Thanks to all the Florida crew for supporting me. All my friends down there in Jacksonville. You guys are the shit.
Thank you so much.
To Emily, come on board with Aisis. We'll take care of you. Forget about United for Care.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
The Law Office of Edson Maton and Matz provides criminal defense, family law, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running a medical marijuana center, optional premises cultivation operation, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout the state of Colorado. We're focused on providing high-quality service and customer satisfaction. We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. WarrenEdson.com. Edson Maton and Matz in Denver, 303-831-8188, and in Aspen, 970-948-7183. WarrenEdson.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Whether you are a commercial grower or cultivate as a hobby, No Dough Urban Garden Supply is Denver's first stop for your hydroponic grow needs. With a wide range of products including House and Garden, Botanicare, and Fox Farm, their knowledgeable staff can get you started on your first garden or help you with your well-established business. No Dough Urban Garden Supply is located in downtown Denver at 1330 27th Street, 4 blocks north of Coors Field near MMD of Colorado. They are open 6 days a week from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 303-296-3424 or visit them on the web at www.nodoughurbangardensupply.com.
And we're back.
And we're back. And we're back. That was fun.
Yay. That was awesome.
Yeah. AISISinc.org. AISISINC.org. Check them out for sure. And hi, Matt Brown from My 420 Tours.
Hi. How are you this fine evening?
You know what? I say this all the time, and I love doing the show because I love having my friends on the show.
That's why I want to do a show myself.
Yeah, so you can have your friends on it too.
I can talk a lot and not feel worried that I'm talking over somebody else.
Can I be on your show one time?
Absolutely.
I would love that.
I know a radio station.
I'd talked to a radio station, and then it was my fault.
He's being heavily pursued.
Well, all right.
Like he almost thinks he's being stalked.
All I need was just to be able to say I can commit every week to do the same thing and know.
I think he should do it monthly.
I want to share the business stories. And like he was just saying, I love it when people come here and everybody has something different that they get out of Colorado and they take it home, and that's really awesome. Some people it's the cool new. I saw an e-nail. I'm not a cool kid, so an e-nail was very new to me a few months ago.
An e-nail is great. Like I got one at home, but I just don't carry it around because it's a lot of shit. But it's
like the vaporizer of dabbing.
I mean, I've got the cheap. I've got a cheap version, but yeah, like you plug it in, the nail's already warm. So instead of if I wanted to take a dab right now, you have to go through the. And that sounds awesome. I mean, it sounds great on our show. On the other show on iDab. But on this show, whatever. If I just felt
show
like
with a middle-aged woman, you're like, I don't want a torch.
Well, no, because you would have a glass of wine. I
don't like dangerous things.
It scares me.
But
I'm liable to do something to myself. No. But anyways, yeah. So everybody comes here, and some people it's just seeing that not only are there tons of advocates, and there's other people here fighting the same fight and with advice that they can give. Where somebody else is still just coming out of the closet. And,
right.
I love helping people come out of the closet about pot. I never thought I'd say that, but I feel like that's the segue to tonight's little episode is.
So you're trying to plan a party.
We're trying to plan a party.
You're really good at this. Why is this a problem right now?
I am not good at this. My partner, JJ Walker, is incredible at it, and he loves it, and amen, thank God I have a good partner.
Yes.
I like making sure that what I do is legal. And I don't mean that to be silly, but I really like helping people find the real clarity that comes from knowing I don't just live in Denver where nobody's watching and I can get away with this as long as I'm not too flagrant. Or I can be super flagrant and they'll just write a law that means I can't do it again.
Right.
That's not me. So last week I went to good friend, Councilman Charlie Brown, the guy who does most of the pot stuff, I guess you'd say, here in Denver. And I just politely said to him, Councilman Brown, I would like to throw a party on New Year's Day, and I would like a little advice or just some clarification from somebody who is a lawyer, because I'm not a lawyer, which works out nicely sometimes. And
because lawyers,
I want to throw a party.
Smell.
Some do. Hey, and I smell, so I guess we can't use that as a thing. But
that's not a good
this is the radio. This is the radio. So I don't smell. I smell awesome. I smell delightful. It's not a bad smell.
It's Axe.
There's a difference between smelling and stinking.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I said, here's what we want to do. Lay it all out there. We want to bring thousands of people together to celebrate the end of cannabis prohibition on the first day that retail stores are open, which really closes the loop in a lot of ways here in Colorado for what's been going on for well over a decade at this point, decade and a half, if you count the forged signatures and the 2000 whatever, old news. So that's the party, and part of that is there may be a few dispensaries in the city of Denver that are open and have gotten through all of their hurdles, and they're lucky. Awesome.
Like Fair Day, just to put that out there. Chuck, it's going to be open.
Awesome. Let me get a pen.
Yeah.
Take notes.
Yes.
Exactly. We're also finding that, in true freshman year college economics, supply and demand is what it is. And there just happen to be some really tiny little municipalities directly across the street from Denver that decided to take a somewhat different approach to take their existing medical marijuana dispensaries and simply allow them to deal with anybody with a driver's license over 21. And so part of the story that will be that. There will be, that iPhone release excitement of people just wanting to camp outside. The same dispensary they go to all the time, to be the one who walks through the door and hugs their bud tender and says, I don't have a red card today, and I'm going to pay my taxes and buy my retail pot and then put it on the shelf. And that will be exciting. And there will be people who will want to...
It's so exciting.
Simply connect the dots, who just want to see them all.
Yeah.
I'm determined there's going to be that 80-year-old woman in some neighborhood who's going to walk to a dispensary and say, I want to know what all the fuss has been about. I never have my card, don't particularly plan on smoking pot, but I just want to see what's behind this door. And we'll walk behind the curtain and see it, and there will be 12, satellite news trucks waiting outside for this woman, I'm sure. And I think
she's going to get a brownie.
Maybe she'll make I think she'd probably not make a purchase, in my mind at least. But then the story is, finally we've gotten this last step. Whether it's somebody who doesn't qualify for a medical card and doesn't feel good making up a malady to get a medical card, or you have somebody who has no interest in pot whatsoever but is just curious or wants to come in and wants to buy something, some little piece of pot to put in a glass jar on their shelf that they will never, ever smoke and say, I bought this on January 1st, 2014.
And everything in between. I mean, there'll be those folks that, I smoked in college and felt icky about the whole medical thing. And then, because, as you said, they didn't necessarily want to make up a malady, or they had a malady that they didn't think that cannabis would aid in, which is, of course, crap. But they'll go and they'll buy a pre-roll. And they'll buy a pre-roll once a month forever because they can.
Yep.
And they don't because they like it and it's fun, but they didn't feel good about it, and now they have got Hickenlooper's blessing.
Right. It's okay. And the same reason why when I turned 18, I bought myself a BB gun. My parents never allowed me to have toy guns when I was a kid, and I could do that, and I could buy porn. I think I bought like a Playboy that day. We had like the Vice tour, and just got it out of the way. It was probably a stunning, $40 or something like that, but I still have that BB gun.
Is Playboy
I got
really
searched going into Canada with that BB gun.
It's not porn, is it?
I would call it art.
I don't think Playboy's porn. I don't think you bought porn. I'm sorry, but you have to redo that.
When you're 18 and it's hidden behind the counter in Missouri and you've got to be embarrassed and ask another human being to have that porn, even though you are of an age that has the internet and you have seen some shit by the time you're 18. That's not it. It's not like, oh, finally I get to, whatever. So we get that.
But you
he
get
does
it. You
make
win.
about exactly.
Absolutely, you get it. Absolutely.
And
I just almost took away his 18th.
No, my 18th. I'm a dork. I turned 16. My parents gave me a calculator. The graphing calculator. It was not a car. Nobody won. I got used to disappointment early. But so not only do we get to do that for everybody here, no matter how much you smoke pot or don't, or what you feel about the issue, that all happens here. We also have this opportunity then to spread the story, so that we don't have to wait then for somebody to come here from Florida and tire kick it for themselves and say, I heard a lot about this, but the sky didn't fall. And it doesn't have to be my nervous aunt from Michigan who has had all sorts of things, but it took somebody in the family who finally kind of broke through that I'm the pot guy in the family, and if you know anybody who's sick or dying and has some questions, I will at least talk to you and share what I know or put you in touch with somebody. We get to now spread, even more of that, and there's a dozen stories on New Year's Day. Every day after that, it keeps going. And so back to the issue at hand was, if I'm going to throw this party and, we're going to all get together and celebrate, I just want to know what the law is.
Right.
I'm very good. I'm the one who tells JJ, no, that part of the party we can't do because such and such legality. He makes a visually stunning party. Everybody who goes will have a great time. That's on JJ. And if I do my job, none of us will get arrested. And we'll be able to do that party again, because then we all know, if you're going to do a private event that is for 21 plus and is legitimately closed to the public and is not, that wink and a nod, you live in Denver, you can buy pot on Craigslist and nobody's busting them, nobody's going to bust the party. And I know that. And I know realistically my odds of having an actual legal encounter on January 1st are probably slim. But that's why I went to the city.
But people are trusting you. People are trusting you, not just locals, but if people fly in and participate in these kinds of things, they're trusting that you've done everything, that you've put all your ducks in a row, that you've connected all the dots, and that you've ensured that what you're doing is A-okay. And if something were to happen, for whatever reason, because the city council has a stick up their butt right now and wants to make an example of something, this would be the perfect example to make. And you don't want to put your patrons in a precarious situation because you didn't do your homework.
And I am the type of person, I would much rather sit down and quietly figure out a way to get a mediocre solution that is locked in forever and is a starting point for what comes next than to ever just take advantage of what seems like a great situation that nobody's ever bothered to define.
Yeah.
And this is I think about selling an intellectually honest story to the world that is watching. And I mean world literally. World, every single continent except Antarctica will be here. And having talked to a lot of these reporters firsthand, I know how they pick up the phone. And they pick up the phone and they say, "Hi, my editor said, or whoever, my boss said, we're coming January 1st. Is there going to be anything going on? What do you think's happening? We know there's a story. It's just like all of us that went to 420 last year.
Right.
Nobody knew why, but there was just something special about kind of being around other people who felt the way we did last year. January 1st is that. And so the world's coming just to see what happens. I now see this not just as, 15 days before all of this goes live, and I can't even lock in, exactly how it is that we do invitations or we do things so that I can legitimately look in a police officer's face, City Councilman Brown's face, the mayor's face, or any camera from anywhere in the world and say, the federal government still doesn't allow this. But because the state of Colorado and the city of Denver do and have taken up the issue that comes after you pass something this big, not only do we get to do it and we get to be here and experience this and celebrate it, but we get to prove how it works. And the undertone there to everybody else in the country is, take the rules that are up on our city webpage, copy them, and then Mad Libs it. The things that need to change, tweak them, make them fit your, We get to show the world that come, we've done it, obviously. This is not like the first time anybody figured out Colorado has this little marijuana thing going on.
Right, shouldn't tell anyone.
Now that Uruguay has not only been the first country to officially create this type of marijuana supply chain for responsible adults in their country, even though they cut off tourism, and I would love nothing more than to take people there for the symbolism of going there. Because I can't take a tour to Amsterdam with the level of comfortability that I can do here in Denver.
That's right.
They don't have the laws. It's a whole other system there. And even where we're undefined, I know my undefined does not mean a dark alley with a dangerous guy asking me tough questions. So, we do it right. And I think now this is an opportunity not only for everybody who comes to know that they can walk through the door, and I'd love for my parents who don't smoke pot, don't drink, don't anything, to be at something like this, or somebody equally as nervous and awkward, to be able to come in and just know, I get to be here and be awkward about this, and at least know I'm not going to get arrested in the process.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk more about it when we come back. You're listening to iCannabis Radio.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
High up in the Rockies is beautiful Frisco, Colorado. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is a medical marijuana center with compassion for Colorado's medical patients. Looking for great meds grown organically in soil? You've come to the right place. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is just off I-70 at exit 203. Check them out at the web at www.mmrockies.com. Their ever-changing strain and clone selection is updated on the website daily. When making a trip to the mountains, no matter the season, stop by Medical Marijuana of the Rockies. Make sure you say you heard about them on iCannabis Radio. You can call 970-668-MEDS to get more information. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies, your mountain source for meds.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
Hi, welcome back. That was perfect timing. See? Everyone's going to the bathroom.
Kismet.
Yes.
Perfect kismet.
So, you decided it made sense to have a celebration on January 1st in Denver, Colorado, where people will be, for the first time ever,
legally able to go into a store, purchase marijuana by showing an ID, not having to talk to a doctor, not having to tell anybody. That's really what it boils down to. To not have to tell any other person why it is that you choose to smoke pot. You know, and even though we have that legal right, anybody, even a tourist who comes here today and has a good buddy who gives them a joint, you know, for a year now in Colorado, this has been the place where you don't have to tell anybody why. And come January, we go full loop, and now you can walk into a store, not even have to talk to another human being and ask for somebody to give you a joint for free. And that's epic. And we've already seen one country now say we're going to follow the Colorado model, and they have gone on the record with that phrase, which nothing makes me happier.
Mr. I developed the Colorado model.
Didn't say it.
I said it.
And, you know, we've proven that something like this can work, and everywhere else that tries it tweaks it, but there's finally that starting point, and I can't wait to show that off to the world. Part of that now is, you know, not only will we be showing off all the fun stuff, but one of those storylines amongst the dozens I'm sure that will happen that day is educating the world that, you know, when they're watching this through their TV, what exactly is going on. This is not a random bar in Denver on the first Wednesday in 2014.
Right.
And in order to really make that message, we have to know what is a private party. So then I can point where, hopefully, if everything comes through.
Let me back up because the law states pretty clearly that you can't smoke in a place that's open in public.
Correct.
Therefore, it must be closed in private.
Correct.
And so no one bothered to really define what that means. Mm-hmm. So you asked the question.
Exactly. And, you know, we know it exists in liquor licensing for – the only place I could find anything close to a definition is – in the Parks and Rec permitting process in Denver, you can reserve a city park for a special occasion or special use permit, special occasion permit, and the only stipulation is that you be a, quote, private event, comma, for by invitation only, period, end quote, end of definition. And, you know, it's like the Supreme Court ruling on porn, and I forget which of these justices said this.
We're talking about porn a lot tonight.
We are.
We are in an old porn studio, so that is totally
the spirit is talking to us.
Ooh.
It's coming through.
I don't know if I've seen you that nauseated ever. Huh.
I'm not opposed to porn. I just...
You don't want to be around it. Porn adjacent is not comfortable.
Right. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, you know, there they said... It's hard to tell where the line is between art and porn, but you know it when you see it. You know, so for us, we know that the Clean Air Act applies to marijuana now. We officially amended our Colorado Clean Air Act, and anywhere that tobacco is covered, marijuana is also covered. We also changed the open containers laws. So when I'm looking at shuttle buses, you know, between various stores or places like that, in order to allow people to smoke on a shuttle bus like that, I want to make sure that they're not going to get arrested the same as you can't smoke while you're driving a car. And a few of those kinds of issues that we know there's bits and pieces of the law that have changed, but this is maybe not certainly the first, but one of those big test cases where we can then say, okay, here's the new laws that we have, and here's how they fit together, and now here's what's left. In this case, we have a private event, and we've gone out of our way. City Hall Amphitheater has 4 walls and has a cloth roof and heaters, but it is officially an amphitheater. And so for cigarette smoking on a random Wednesday night in Colorado, the Colorado Clean Air Act, which prohibits cigarette smoking most places indoors, does allow the venue to choose if they want to allow cigarette smoking. The same law also allows the venue to choose if they want marijuana smoking for a private event like this. We don't have clarification, but as I read it, TGI Fridays, if they felt like it, could rent the place out to you. You shut it off to the public. You have 20 of your friends there and you hotbox it. TGI Fridays can say you can't smoke pot there. We all know that. But they would then also have the same right to choose to allow you to if it's a private event and it meets the definition as soon as we know what that is. So
therein lies the
here
issue.
We get to ask the question of, I think at this point, a few days after asking that question and getting various different answers from various city officials, all of whom were asking proper questions about ways in which consenting adults can smoke pot outside of someone's home. None of them specifically applied to a private party and a private event. So, like most things, this will probably be an opportunity to just be on the record and to show, it's not illegal. We've proven and we've asked everybody who possibly, we know it's not illegal, but there's also not a law that says, if you're going to throw a pot party, here's what you need to do, and here's your checklist, and pay your fee, and go on your way. So we get to figure that out. And in Colorado, what we've been very fortunate to have, for now 4 years at least, is the support, really, of everybody, of the non-pot smoking public, of the city officials, of the police department, certainly in Denver, and everybody who comes to the table, that the first one can certainly happen, and we make very little TV with SWAT teams and guys in riot gear arresting the stoners in the park. It doesn't happen. But the first kind of people to dip their toe become the one that gets held up. And they either get pointed at and said, now we clearly know this is what we don't want. And you get rules very specifically written to that very clear idea of what they don't want, whether it's dispensaries, grows, location of any of this.
You can't give away joints in Civic Center Park.
Right. And, we have the power as a community to do both. There are some people who are passionate about it. Both events make a wave. Both events make a statement.
Right.
There are right and wrong ways to do each. But I'm not the kind of person who would prefer to set the big fire and then stand next to it and say, let's all figure this out. As opposed to checking and getting the permit and then building the biggest bonfire ever and pointing at it and saying, we're fine, fire department can't come. Well, here's what we know for next time.
That's more or less the 420 rally. Every year, Civic Center Park, giant gathering, lots of smoke. Mm-hmm. So this year, given everything in question, I wonder how that's going to turn out. I wonder if that's going to be affected, given that those things are specifically being gone after. Now, the 420 rally still is a protest. That's why it's still one of the larger, cannabis prohibition protests. So it should still be able to play out. So I'm excited to see how that works out. But do you know anything about
there will be people there smoking pot at 4 o'clock on Sunday, April 20th this year.
I think what's going to be different is that now the rules are clear. Before it was we're going to let them do this. This is a once a year thing. And I think it's going to depend on what happens between now and April 20th. If people do a lot of stupid things, then guess what? There's going to be people arrested at the 420 rally. Mm-hmm. If people are really smart and thoughtful and courteous along the way, then I think that they'll continue to do what they have been doing, which is let's just make sure this doesn't get out of control and get dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And I think, everything that we've done and everyone who's been, no matter how remotely connected to this industry for years now knows, you just have to do your best and be ready to roll with what comes. And hope that the things that you're doing will make whatever comes next a little bit easier than it could have been if you were a little bit less diligent today.
Right.
I think that's a kind of a way to sum up the way a lot of people feel. There are some major events that already come here. We had the Secret Cup this weekend, 710, Cannabis Cup. And as much as people love to hate on High Times, it is a convention for the city. There is a lot of money that comes here. There's an excitement for people from outside the region to come to Denver and experience Denver through that lens. And I think as long as it can be done in a way that, everybody, again, the 90% of the adult public that doesn't smoke pot feels more or less the same way that all of us who do smoke pot feel, that we can have these things and it's okay, and everybody is net benefited instead of net harmed.
Right.
And hopefully then the flip side to that is we have a little bit more clarity, we can go bigger. You know, when High Times or when JJ and I or whomever approaches a larger venue or, you know, wants to incrementally make this bigger the way, you know, Austin, Texas has had South by Southwest from when it was some kids who put together a renegade, you know, arts and music show and said, let's see if we can do this. And then it grew to be
humongous.
One of the biggest things that draws people there. And I'm sure anybody who's been to South by Southwest or any of the parties or the whatever can probably point to something that they saw that maybe their mother would not like to see on Facebook. But I don't think that there's probably a huge population in Austin saying, shut down South by Southwest because something happened and whatever. We're not there yet. But if we get there, Amsterdam has had a significant chunk of their economy from North American tourist dollars for decades who go there because they were the only place. And anybody who's been there seems to have a pretty similar response when they come back, which is, oh, you know, it was a gorgeous city. I wasn't really I was expecting that or whatever, but it was dirty and the weed and, you know, it wasn't what I thought. Or they go to Jamaica, this is my experience, and you just get handfuls of nasty weed and you think, this isn't the Jamaica I've always imagined. And until Jamaica figures it out and passes their own Colorado system, you know, that won't exist. And I think here in Colorado, it can be everything from two people who fly in, stop at a store, flash their ID once, and nobody ever sees or knows that they smoke pot again, but they know they get to do it legally. Or if it's 150,000 people coming together in the middle of the city and erecting a giant tent over all of Civic Center Park and paying for new sod and whatever it takes to do whatever party you feel like having. And like most things in society, we have a balance in between. And it may be that, you know, there are some things that we could get away with before. A couple years down the road as this all fleshes out, I think in anything, whether it's retail marijuana, how we use, even the rules that were just passed this week for where you can and cannot use marijuana, all of that continues to evolve for the better when everybody who doesn't smoke pot doesn't really flip out.
That's right. So what does this mean for your party? You have 15 days.
I mean, we are at this point going forward. No one has given me a law that says you can't do it. Still talking. First thing I did this morning when it was work hours at least was call Councilman Brown's office and just check back in. You know, I expect some sort of answer. And even if that answer is we don't have an answer in law, so behave yourself, that's still an answer. And, right. You know, until I hear otherwise, that's, I think, what we have to do. And, you know, we're getting ready to reach out to all the media who've been calling and just figuring out who has what going on. Like I heard you say at the top of the show, we still don't know and won't know until after Christmas, probably, which stores exactly will be able to flip the switch January 1st and actually open the door. And so it'll be fun.
And they may or may not be doing a big publicity push depending on their concern about the amount of product. I mean, everyone is thinking that Colorado is going to run dry. Or at least this area.
It is. And, you know, we were talking before the show, and I sort of chuckled about this, but in you know, sometimes unintended consequences work out with a little bit of a silver lining. In a weird way now, this is only Denver. So anybody who's listening who's not in Denver, every other city has different rules. So worst case scenario will be going to Central City with buses, and we know there's one dispensary that'll be open. I'd prefer to keep it local. But now all the tourists who are not coming on January 1st and are planning to come sometime between now and April 20th, every week we're going to have a new batch of grand openings.
That's
and
right.
So, you know, where maybe in a way, if every single one of the 100-plus Denver dispensaries that wanted to convert and has started the licensing process were able to just flip the switch, it would be sort of a non-event for everybody. And now everybody who does make that leap, I think there's a pretty good chance that you'll be able to sell whatever product you have and start with a splash and not a whimper.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for your event. How can people find out more information about it?
They can't yet. Very soon it will be at Cannabition.com, but I have to make sure that we understand exactly how we have to invite you. We know that. What we are doing is if there are sponsors, if there are people who are planning to be open, if they know that they have a business that would like to be a part of whatever happens kind of at the hub of it, we want to talk to you no matter how small.
iCannabis Radio?
iCannabis Radio has a booth already. You just didn't know it.
Thank you.
Hooray. Worked that one out today. So any of those kind of partners, we want to work with you. We want this to be about you. It's not about me. This is not a big infomercial for me and my company. This is all of us coming together and showing off what's awesome here. And me then having a place to send all of these cameras who call and harass and like all the media who wants a good story. We bring it all together. Those sponsors, so only the sponsors will then be allowed to invite people. It's going to be $5 per person. JJ and I right now are covering through our company all of the hard costs. It's going to cost us $20,000 or $30,000.
Sure.
So not much, $5. You can't buy pot there, but everything goes as planned. It will be an officially private event.
But someone could bring
pot,
share.
And we the plan at least, and again, this is evolving based on what stores are open, but I want to have one side of the street blocked off and shuttle buses just going. So you can come and then get on a bus, smoke with some friends, go to the store, have that like photo op, selfie picture together, and then come back to the party and smoke together. It will be great. And if we do it right, we will start this off. And this will happen not every day in Denver, but this will be able to happen every day that somebody wants to do this, not just me.
This is
and we'll be doing it a lot.
Yeah. This is $5. What best $5 you ever spent?
That just pushes that stupid.
I think
Subway
you could get a $5
window.
contact high if all goes according to plan.
Right.
But, I think it'll be visually stunning. Hopefully, again, getting the fire department to sign off on glass blowing is probably a larger logistical issue than me figuring out the legality of a private party. Because there are no rules for private parties, and there's a lot of rules for blowing glass indoors.
Right. I know there is.
Everything goes according to plan, though we do want to have part of the stage, part of the time being glass blowing and live music and different sponsors with all sorts of stuff. And I'm sure I'll be back before then.
Yet, or you do?
City Hall.
Oh, it is going to be City Hall.
The contract's there, the deal's done. I went with actually the manager of City Hall Bar to meet with Councilman Brown, and we were very upfront. And they own a lot of bars in the area. They have way more probably to risk in reality than I do. And, if any one of those venues were to do it wrong on their end, they could risk losing their liquor license, which would effectively put them out of business. So
City Hall has done marijuana events in the past. This is not new to them.
Correct.
And it's a big, huge venue for those of you who've never been.
It's an amphitheater. So It does have a cloth roof. It's covered. I mean, it's January, but you can heat it. It's not like standing in the middle of a field. And it allows it to vent so that, normally they just allow cigarette smoking on the top floor. So for people like me, I smoke cigarettes, but I also know that a lot of people don't like that. I get it. And I feel awkward and always try to remove myself. Like I'm the one who feels all shamed about it. But it's a perfect venue. You can be up on the top floor. Everybody else can be downstairs. Smoke doesn't mix. And yeah, hopefully we were able to show that we can do it right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great venue too because you can be in one room and the next room is completely different. And the sound doesn't travel. The smoke doesn't travel. I've been there.
I don't know.
We want to give you something to do all day too. So it's not just we got here and we smoked.
Right.
And now we're going to sit down and smoke some more?
Right. Look at each other.
I don't know. Food trucks outside. Anybody has a food truck and is looking to be in the area, there's going to be thousands of stoners downtown who can't
hungry.
Drive. Exactly. We may or may not. We don't know what the bar situation will be, if we can have alcohol for people who want it or have it as a celebration. Or if they'll be able to do food. Those details are figured out, but I know I want the streets lined with food trucks. 2014 needs to be the year that these stoners lead a revival in Denver food trucks. They are hurting for business. They don't make enough money. We should, do more with them.
That sounds wonderful. I am so excited. This is yet another fantastic My 420 Tours event, love event. I mean, just doing it right, thinking it through, allowing people to have a fun, safe environment, and making a product that at the end our elected officials can't look at it and say, ugh, that's what we were afraid of.
And I think one way or another, at some point, the idea of defining, at least in Denver, events and rules and all those sorts of things, it was bound to come up. Being able to do this ahead of time makes it, I think, more difficult for a city hall to then ram through rules that seem fair until they've seen the opposite.
Yeah.
Whatever that opposite is, if it's a good opposite or a bad opposite, 2014 will be a good year. We'll just keep saying that.
Absolutely. Matt Brown, thank you so much. And how at the point in time that you get some details,
it will be at Cannabition, CANNABITION.com, and I will come back to.
I get it, Cannabition. I get that. I see what you did there.
There's a lot of vowels in there. I got it.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic. January 1st. That's a party.
It's coming up so fast. It's unbelievable.
I can hardly get through this week.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's been a weird year. It's been a really weird year. Thank God this fucking year is almost over.
Hear, hear.
Hallelujah.
I know, right?
So 2014, we welcome you in slightly more than 2 weeks, please.
I know, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. Do you know what's happening this week on Wednesday?
There's all kinds of things happening this week, but
yeah?
this particular Wednesday and this particular event that you're talking about is the Cannabis Business Awards, I do believe.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. You read my mind.
If you are in Denver this week, if you're still in town from the Secret Cup even, feel free to jump on your computer right now, go to cannabisbusinessawards.com and look up the event. Get some information, get yourself a ticket.
It's at Castleman's from 6 to 10 p.m. on this Wednesday. I told a lot of people that it was Thursday, and guess what?
It's Wednesday.
It's not Thursday, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday, December 18th.
That's right, and it's pretty amazing. This year, the Activist of the Year Award has been renamed.
Renamed to the Jenny Cush Activist of the Year Award. So whoever wins that is going to have... I'm just stoked. When she told me that they were renaming that award to that, I was like, holy shit, that is really, really, really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Really cool.
You know what else is neat is this year, so the awards are snow globes. And there's a green leaf.
Marijuana leaf in there.
And this year, those leaves
are not green.
Nope. They're purple in honor of Jenny.
Awesome. Which is super awesome.
It's so awesome.
For those of you that may not know, Jenny Cush, local. See, I'm starting to get all excited. As I start
is that what happens when you get excited?
Yeah, I start to bumble words and everything gets down 10 sentences. Rush, and nothing makes it. So it's a train wreck. Jenny Cush is a local activist here in Colorado, before we got into an accident that took her life, and a drunk driver. So the whole Activist of the Year thing to me means something because, it's like our adversary, I guess you could say, in this fight was what did it, what took her, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, but it feels kind of noble. So I'm grateful to Chloe for doing that.
It's pretty exciting. So definitely check out the event. I got to say that
that was hard. I almost cried.
You can cry. You're allowed to cry.
I know, but I'm not going to. I was going to. I still might, but I'm not going to. I refuse.
I'm really proud that Jeremy has been nominated for an MVP award as well as the Activist of the Year award. Just in case anyone's confused, I voted for him for Activist of the Year. Absolutely.
I voted for Jenny.
You voted for
I did.
Either way, you win. Either way, you win. iCannabis Radio is up for 2 awards this year. I'm really excited.
I voted for iCannabis Radio. I hear that those people are swell.
The iCannabis people that I have met are nice.
They are, especially as of late over the last couple of months. They've been pretty swell. I'd say within the last 4. Whenever.
They're pretty nice.
I mean,
but we're up for Best Small Business and Best Media Source. It was so nice to be nominated. It's so nice to be thought of. So we're pretty excited about that. So that's Wednesday night. Definitely check that out. And we are actually going to be broadcasting live that night.
That's excellent.
Did you know that?
I do now because the email that I got that was asking was talking about the other award show on Thursday nights, and it's like, there's another one? Nope. Just the one. I
apologize.
But it's on the Wednesday.
It is.
That's fine because I'm already working the Jenny Cush booth. So that way.
I'll be there. I'm going to be handing out the awards.
Sweet.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
So
I'm looking forward to it. Be there on Wednesday.
You do a good job doing those kind of things. I just want to put that out there.
I'm just Vanna White. Thank you, but I'm just Vanna White this time. I don't get to speak.
Aww.
I give the winner, and I give them, and sometimes I hug them.
Are you going to do like a twirl and like
Do you want me to?
And you should, and hold it and do all that whole.
So let me just caveat. I will happily do that if I'm wearing shoes that allow me to do that. If I'm wearing shoes that don't allow me to twirl, I can guarantee nothing.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. We'll
Absolutely. Because, I'm not going to say, well, don't wear any weird shoes then, because, it's those shoes that are awesome on women. So on behalf of many, many, many men, I would like to say on behalf of all of us that women, we do appreciate it when you wear those sexy shoes that you hate to walk in.
I didn't even say they were going to be sexy.
No. I'm just putting it out there in general. As an
shoes.
in general thing, the boots, the high heels, the whatever, not all your crazy shoes are sexy though. Some of that shit is stupid. If you think it might be stupid, we probably think it is stupid. If you're questioning it,
But we don't care.
It doesn't necessarily matter. Yeah,
we don't hate you because you have stupid shoes. Yeah. All your shoes are kind of stupid.
Exactly. And we hate you because you act like an ass.
We hate hearing about them.
Right. So, but if you're an awesome person, you can totally get away with wearing stupid shoes for at least a short amount of time.
Okay.
Somebody will say something to you eventually if they're
now I'm so self-conscious about any shoes I put on.
Well, you should be.
Thank you, Sam. All right. So
but
you know what else?
You do have style. You have quality style. So don't be self whatever the fuck. Whatever.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you know what else is happening on Wednesday?
It's my favorite word.
Fuck.
Well, that too. Well, apparently, because I use it all the time, even when it's not fucking necessary. But it's
11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Adam Dunn Show is on before the Cannabis Business Awards, so don't forget to listen to that. Thursday, of course, is the Hemp Connoisseur.
At what time?
It's from 4 to 5 p.m. Thank you so much. Reefer Madness with Citizen J and Mark is on at 6:30 till 7:30.
On what day?
Friday.
Ooh, see?
Yeah.
I was going to blend right into Thursday there. You don't even care about the days.
I said Friday. I did.
No, you said
I didn't.
No.
It's
okay,
I'm
though.
awful with days today. Next Monday, of course, in the lab with Jennifer Murray from Can Lab from 3 to 4 p.m. And then you and I are not going to take next week off. We are going to be here, despite the fact that
you know what next Monday should be? Next Monday should be bring your son or daughter to work day, to radio show day.
Deal.
We should have like a
your daughter should come to the show.
As much of a family-oriented show as we could have with my foul fucking mouth and being in an ex-porn studio.
Turned law firm. How fitting.
My daughter's 14, so if you've seen a PG-13 movie, then these words and this situation is not that wacky. Gavin, on the other hand,
he's just 9.
He's fragile.
He's fragile.
And it's not that he is fragile. He is fine. He's just that he is a little bit. You don't go home and speak like I do.
He charges people when they swear.
Shit, man, I better bring it.
That's smart.
25 cents. Yeah, in fact, we were with a friend for the weekend who just gave him $100 and was like, "This is good for the weekend."
I was just gonna say, if I give him
Prepaid?
$20, $20, that'll get me through the show at least. Because that's 20 times 4. Damn, that's 80 times that I can.
And not someone who's horribly offended by swearing. That's what I like about that.
Right.
You can get away with it. You can enforce that at night.
We were in a restaurant and we were watching a sporting event and some people were swearing and he walked right over them and he was like, "Listen," and the guy paid him. Dude, Gavin got paid. Gavin got paid.
Good job, buddy.
Yes. So we will see you guys next week. As always, I love doing the show with you.
I love doing the show with you. And I'm really grateful for all of you people that listen. Because without you, we would just be talking to each other, which I would absolutely enjoy too. But sometimes it's nice when people listen to us talk to each other.
It is nice.
Isn't it? Especially when we can get some good information and all these neat things that... it's...
And Matt's funny, too.
It's nice. It made the time just whiz by. We even got to skip a whole commercial break, and we never do that on this show.
I know, and we skipped Greg tonight. Next, it's not your fault. We knew
no.
It's not your fault at all. We knew it was going to happen.
It happens on a 1-hour show.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when time flies when you're having fun.
That's right. And there's more next week.
There is more next week. There wasn't going to be, but now there is.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good week.